We have a question and answer session here, and so we've been holding, hopefully you've had some question and answers, but Mike has a few comments he'd like to make, and then we'll take question and answer. So Mike Knuffke, with Texas Family Board Member.
Yeah, I don't want to take a lot of time. I'm not going to hold you up. But you know, just sitting here, kind of just listening to what's taking place here today, I've jotted down a number of notes. So the summary is that Planned Parenthood has been defunded, if you don't know. They've been defunded legislatively here in the state of Texas. But how incredible is it that Planned Parenthood has unfettered access to our children? Mm-hmm. Who in their right mind would do that? Mm-hmm. Who would swap tax monies for the soul of our children? I don't know a single. Jennifer, I mean, you hit it right on the head. No one. So think about what we have done here. It's absolutely incredible. It may not have been done on purpose, but that is the facts. The second is that parents are out of the loop. They are out of the loop. They're totally out of the loop. Right. Patrick said, I have been betrayed. Well, it's worse than that. Here's what it is. The parents have relegated that responsibility over the years by the legislature via the school district, and they said, trust us. We have your kids. Don't worry about it. And they've relegated it. And you know what? We tried to get the opt-out. Who was with us? Danny was with us. A whole bunch of people were with us. Tried to have sessions. We had 10 sessions of trying to opt out parents. And parents are saying, there's a problem? Yeah. What's the problem? It's an incredible amount of problem, but it's an incredible, difficult. Look, we've spent 2 hours here trying to go through this stuff. Imagine sitting down with every parent trying to explain this. Very difficult. So they have been betrayed. But the state legislature and the independent school districts have done it to them. The next thing is that we know is Planned Parenthood has a business plan. Now, whether it's economic, whether it's ideological, who knows what it is. It's probably both, and probably other things too. But here's the issue. The issue is they know how to drum up business. You see, because they sell promiscuity. They sell, just like crack cocaine. So what happens with a drug dealer? They get someone and they give them a sample of crack cocaine. That child takes that crack cocaine and they have a business customer for life. For life. Well, Planned Parenthood has cocaine too, crack cocaine. It's called masturbation. It's called pornography. And if they can get them hooked on masturbation and pornography, they've got it for life because they know they're going to act out. They know they're going to go to the school. They know that eventually somebody's going to get pregnant. And then Planned Parenthood is going to get the phone call. And they're going to be able to provide the abortion, whether it be a chemical abortion, a surgical abortion, whatever the case might be. So we are here today because we are concerned. And if you're with the legislature or in that office, we encourage you to support any type of legislation, whether it be the obscenity exemptions, whatever it might be. We have to do something about this. We have to do something about this today because we are just barely getting somewhere here, I think, in the state of Texas. And I think the last thing I want to talk about is the agent of change. The agent of change is Planned Parenthood. They have been the negative agent of change. And they have taken a ride with Texas Freedom Network, right? And they've been able to get into our school systems, taken over the shack, and what have you. Here's how I boil it down to. When we all went to school, I think I'm safe in saying that. Yeah, I am. Okay, when we all went to school, it was sex education. Biological sex education. Okay, do you know what the student sees now? It's not sex education now. It's introduction to sex. Like introduction to driver's ed. I'm going to be doing. I'm going to learn to do. It is a total different mindset. Why? Because they have Planned Parenthood handing out condoms like it's candy and all this kind of, all these other support mechanisms. That's what's in our kids' minds. It's sex introduction. It's 101 sex. And that's the difference from yesteryear and today. So we can't fail the parents any longer. We can't fail the children, and we certainly can't fail our futures. So we would ask that you do everything you possibly can. Get involved. Help us. Talk to your state legislator. move these things along because we make a difference. And with that, we're going to open up with questions. If we can hold comments, we just need questions today, and we're going to try and direct it to the person that can answer that question. And I know we're running out of time, but does anyone have a question at all that needs to be addressed? Anybody? Yes, ma'am.
I don't have a question about puberty blockers being given to minor students. Texas Monthly has a big article about that.
Yep.
And I don't know if there's any initiative here among our group.
I don't know. Where's Debbie? Debbie, who'd be the best in your estimation to address that question? You want Jennifer or you want Deanne? Who'd be the best?
I don't know, I don't think we have an expert on that.
Well, I'm just saying that needs to be added to the collection. I'm from Dripping Springs.
Where is it?
And I'm afraid that young man is going to be put on puberty blockers. Texas Monthly is bragging about.
Oh, is that the one where they're all three going through it at the same time?
I don't know, but that,
Oh, that's Round Rock?
it's called
Okay.
Infinity
Yes, absolutely.
Gender.
Yeah,
And they are.
absolutely. That's
they're
all
bragging
part of
about it.
this.
Yes.
Now, it's the part of this relative to school education, sex education.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Addressing to the lady right there. In your presentation, you said that for HIV/AIDS,
Yes.
HIV/AIDS, their cases keep increasing, and that there's no real prevention for it other than abstinence. Now, what is being touted commercially is this pill called PrEP. Please tell me what the reality is there.
Well, they have, it is an retro antiviral medication used to treat AIDS, and it's used in different ways. Number one, if a man or a woman is raped, they can go to the emergency room and they're given 2 weeks supply of this antiretroviral medication to help prevent any AIDS virus or the HIV virus from taking hold in their body, okay? So just like that, that's one way it's used. Another way it's used is if you have a couple, whether it's a heterosexual or homosexual couple, and one of the partners is HIV positive, then the other partner can take those antiretroviral medications continually, and if both partners are taking them, then the viral load decreases to the point that they should be both protected. Problem is, when you stop the medications, the viral load goes back up. Okay, so what I mean, there is no cure, there's no permanent answer, but there are ways to help prevent HIV spread.
Also, there's no research that this works. It's brand new. There's no research out that it even works. So we won't even know for a year or two whether it's effective or not.
The political side of it is that if you are infected with HIV and your viral load drops because of the medication that you're on, that you no longer have to say that you're HIV positive.
Right.
And that's the political move right now.
Right.
Very good. Question? Yes, ma'am.
I think my question is, there are several things that we need to talk to our legislators about. Can you summarize them?
The best way to summarize it, Debbie, would you like to take the planks just to summarize?
Sure.
Oh, thank you for telling me.
Just so that we can go in there sounding educated, kind of.
Yes, here's what we can do, is if you go to, I'm gonna have Debbie answer here in just a second. If you go to Texas Family, Facebook Texas Family, we will have it uploaded there, and a grassroots handout, because I don't know that I can find them, and what you can do to get involved. And so I think that's what you're after, but Debbie can talk specifically.
Mike, on the tab on the San Antonio Family Association page, there's a tab that says Speak Up on the menu, and there you can download the grassroots handout.
Very good.
Yeah, looking for, yeah, that's
I would
what.
recommend, the mic's still on. I would recommend four subjects if you want to talk to your legislators. The first one is prohibiting abortion providers, digital and physical presence in schools. The second one is the SHAC initiative, or the SHAC recommendations that I've mentioned. There was a bill that was filed in the last session. We expect it to be filed in this session. It would include School Health Advisory Council improvements for transparency and accountability and more parental participation. The third one would be prohibiting condom demonstrations and dispensing in schools. And the fourth one would be the obscenity exemption that Jennifer Fleck spoke about. So removing the obscenity exemption from the penal code. So that one would actually be in the criminal justice. So those are the four initiatives that I would summarize.
If you're wondering what they use for demonstration, they'll hand out the condoms and they'll have children put the condoms on something like this. Yeah. So this isn't fake. This is an $87 kit from ETR, the same company we're talking about all day. ETR education kit. As pathetic as that is. Now they claim we didn't buy the kits. Okay, we just did the curriculum. Okay, but that doesn't prevent a teacher to say, you know, we ought to have one of those kids. It's taken upon themselves because when they approved the curriculum, they approved the whole thing, lock, stock, and barrel, the whole darn thing. Any other questions? Yes, Jerome.
Directly related to that question there, and what you said about parents don't know about all this. Obviously, I represent the American Legion. I came here to listen and to learn. The American Legion should be concerned about this because the American Legion was founded 100 years ago this year on 4 pillars. One of those 4 pillars is children and youth, and education is a big issue, and family integrity is another big issue. Who can help the American Legion draft a resolution to pass at our state convention to address these issues?
Well, we'd like to help you. I think the Texas family, we can get some resources together to help you draft that language. Yeah, you know, the key behind it is that we saw today in the 60s, right? Audrey, she went right back to Kinsey. 62, 63, 64. I mean, we started seeing the beginning. Those are just cracks. The destruction of the family came about, you know, in the 80s. I mean, no fault divorce, you know, hit, and you know, and one thing after another. So we could certainly get some help to draft something for you. But we're on the same page, absolutely, and that is healthy, strong families, and sex education is just one of the issues, the acute issues we're facing today. Yeah, we can help you. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Now, as a taxpayer in that area, because I don't have kids in the schools, am I still able to go to the meetings and find out what they, or even approach the school and find out what their
On the
sexual
shacks,
education?
on the shack meetings, Debbie, she doesn't have any children, can she still attend shack?
Unless she's in my district.
Unless she's in Melissa's and Patrick's district, where they won't even tell you where the meetings are, but the answer is yes. It should be open.
As a taxpayer, you can go to the school
Oh,
board,
yes,
or
ma'am.
go to the shack meetings?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
School board, definitely. Shack meeting, until you start raising a commotion, then they shut you down, right?
They also can do an open, the public information request.
Open record request for public information, yeah. Other questions?
You won't know until you go.
That's right, you won't even know until you, in fact, just go to the website right now and start there. And then look for the shack meeting and the trustee meeting. I want to thank you for your attention, and I know it was a long session today, but this is a very, very important topic. Patrick, you have something to say? Okay, I'll turn it over to Patrick.
Thank you, Mike. We will be having a lobby day in which we will be going to see the legislators face to face. We have not planned that date yet. It might be a day that we combine with Concerned Women for America and Texas Values. We'll see if they'll let us join them or not. But nonetheless, we will be having a lobby day to do that very thing and to see legislators about that. We might even be brave enough and exercise a little bit of courage, come on the day that all the people wearing pink and Planned Parenthood comes, and just to have a little fun and show them what true joy is about when you're doing what's right and good. And I'd like Danny to come up, and we're going to close in prayer.
So
But-
what is going on March 15th then?
I think she said March 13th, was it 15th or 13th? Texas Values is having a Faith, Family, and Freedom Summit, where they're basically going to have an educational event like similar to what we're doing here on the issues that they're promoting in the legislature. March 13th. And
13th?
March 13th.
Where?
it's on their Texas Values website. I know I got the email from them on that.
Yeah, would you allow me just a couple of comments? Last session I worked on the bathroom bill, and we used that opportunity, the hearing in the Senate for Carol and for Sharon Armkey, to talk about the fact that this transgender philosophy was being taught to the pre-K kids. During that hearing, of course, there were just tons and tons of transgender youth and of all ages coming to complain about the bathroom bill. Almost to a person, they suggested that their confusion arose from sexual abuse. They stated that openly in the committee. And then they threatened to commit suicide if they didn't get to go to the bathroom if they wanted to. The other thing to notice is that if you were to look at the witness list from that hearing, you could see that every single public school association that exists put in a card in opposition to the bathroom bill. So it was like a really like the principals, the administrators, the classroom teachers, the school bus drivers, the counselors, everybody that has an association that's related to public school was against the bathroom bill, and so they were against the privacy of little girls and stuff. The last thing is that last session the Texas Medical Board was up for sunset review, and they didn't get to actually get to that bill, and so they just changed the date so that it could exist, that agency could exist for another 2 years. We should see a sunset bill for the Texas Medical Board, and there should be an opportunity to amend that to prohibit puberty blockers being administered to children under 18. That ought to be a possibility, so we need to be looking for that sunset bill.
Great comment. Thank you for bringing your book up to me. Thank you very much for those comments. I was here in Central. I'll come back to that. Sonia, go ahead.
No, just a reminder.
Yeah, so, what we would do, if anybody would like to, when we're finished with the prayer, we'll get a group picture up here, and then we'll ask everybody, after you do a group picture, then the speakers stay up there. We're going to take a picture of all the speakers that are remaining here, and soon our official photographer will be doing that for us. Back to Senate Bill 6 on the privacy bill. I was in this very room, I think it was this very room, giving testimony, and was first early on, but they had to break, the Senate, the committee had to break for lunch. I stayed in here to prepare my remarks, the 3 minutes we had, and over in this area, the bunch of those people, transgender people, transvestites were hanging out, and something very disturbing to me as far as being an Aggie, came up with what they were talking. I was just working my way, I was sitting right up here, and they said, they were saying amongst themselves that Texas A&M has become the most friendly towards the LGBT lifestyle and transgender, and I hate to say it, but it's being done by our own chancellor, and who is doing that. But what we don't understand is that there's a great attack going on as we are all here in a culture war and to fight for and protect Texas children. But that is being taken to the last bastion of conservatism as far as a public university in Texas A&M, and it's being infiltrated from the inside. And our own chancellor is causing great damage to the Texas A&M university system. So we're seeing that, and hopefully the privacy bill will come back up. I understand that the chances of it are not great, but join with us in the privacy bill in San Antonio is called the non-discrimination ordinance, and that certain writers and that like to call the bathroom bill to sensationalize it, but it is about protecting young girls, particularly from doing that. And now in the city of San Antonio, it's legal for a man to walk into a woman's restroom as long as they quote intend no harm. And but you can do that legally in the city of San Antonio. It's unconscionable. And so I have to go stand guard for my daughter, and I'll do that. Yep. So thank you all for being here. If you can, you want to take a group picture, and then we'll have all the speakers stay up there and do that. I want to thank again real quick our Capitol Room sponsor, State Senator Donna Campbell. Her chief of staff just came in, John Oliver, and said hello, checked on us. He's the one that got the air conditioner turned on, so we want to thank you and for that. Also, State Senator Pete Flores. our very own Ken Mercer, State Board of Education. Thank you very much, Ken. And Alma Jackson, she did text me back, and I think Paula was on this, your text, that said her daughter ended up being in false labor, and but everybody's healthy, everybody's doing okay. Also, our concerned parents of Texas, Trinity Legal Care, Texas Parents Care, the Justice Foundation, Conservatives in Action, Sonia and Bill Harris, and the San Antonio Family Association. So thank you all very much. I want to thank all of our volunteers and for helping put this together, and as well as all you speakers and you ladies over here did a great job. So thank you very much. And Danny, would you close us in prayer, please? And again, that your prayer is on the inside front cover of your briefing booklet, and it's at the bottom of the page.
Remember, we must trust in God in all that we do. So God our Father, giver of life, we entrust the United States of America, the state of Texas, Bexar County, and the city of St. Anthony to your loving care. You are the rock on which this nation was founded. You alone are the true source of our cherished rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Reclaim this land for your glory and dwell among your people. Send your spirit to touch the hearts of our nation's leaders with an intense desire to fulfill their responsibilities that protect individuals, marriages, families, and long-term domestic prosperity. Open our public officials' minds and all people who live in America to the inestimable worth of human life and to the responsibilities that accompany human freedom. Remind your people that true happiness is rooted in seeking and doing your will. Through the intercession of your Holy Spirit, grant us the courage to reject the culture of death, indifference, communism, and socialism, and bless us with the desire, strength, and fortitude to be courageous conduits to help bring about a new culture of life, marriage, family, and freedom. We ask for your divine assistance to help us be and remain faithful to you, and for our collective petitions through your Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
And if you didn't get a chance to meet Danny's mom, Marjorie Peacher, who came up here and go over and meet her and let her know that her son's doing good. By the way, if you want more information, SanAntonioFamilyAssociation.com, San Antonio Family Association on Facebook, TexasFamily.com, TexasFamily.us, and Texas Family on Facebook. Thank you all for being here. Please come up and take a group picture if you will.